Hey, good morning, Eastside family. Thanks for joining me on day 54 of our Discover Jesus Challenge, our New Year's Challenge. The cool thing about this is if you missed a day or two, or you decided, I want to start this challenge in summer or fall, you can always check out our playlists on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram for devos. So, yeah, they're all there. Okay, let's get into it. Grab your coffee or breakfast smoothie or sandwich or burrito, whatever wakes you up and puts you into the Word. And we are going to get started in Luke chapter 10. Wonderful chapter here. We have Jesus sending out 72 of his disciples to prepare the way to go out before him. We have the parable of the Good Samaritan. It's a great story. And we also have our little family drama with Martha and Mary. What I'd like to do is focus on the first part of Luke chapter 10 when Jesus sends out 72 disciples to prepare the way. What way? In the latter part of Luke chapter 9, Jesus was setting his eyes towards Jerusalem. So the people that the 72 disciples were going to would have very well been the same crowd waving palm branches and letting him into the city. Or they would have been the crowd that was yelling for him to be crucified. I think it was both kinds of people. And this is what Jesus instructs his disciples to do in verse 3. Go your way. Behold, I am sending ye out as lambs in the midst of wolves. Carry no money bag, no knapsack, no sandals, and greet no one on the road. Whenever you enter, whatever house you enter, first say, Peace be to this house. And if a son of peace is there, your peace will rest upon him. But if not, it will return to you. And remain in the same house, eating and drinking what they provide, for the laborer deserves his wages. Do not go from house to house. Whenever you enter a house and they receive you, eat what is set before you. Heal the sick in it, and say to them, the kingdom of God has come near to you. But whenever you enter a town and they do not receive you, go into its streets and say, even the dust of your town that clings to our feet, we will wipe off against you. Nevertheless, know this, that the kingdom of God has come near. So I grew up in a very faith-based household, and I consider myself, I was rather sheltered. I had a great growing time in that shelter, and I think it definitely helped teach and solidify my core values. However, being sheltered also proved a little bit of a double-edged sword for me, as when I marched into the working world, I got blasted with just all the rough and tough and everyone's truths and other belief systems. And I was really overwhelmed. I don't know about you guys, but I found it really difficult to communicate to others that I'm different, that I'm a Christ follower. I really resonate with what Jesus says in verse 3, warning his disciples that they are going out as lambs in the midst of wolves. But with Jesus' word of caution, he gives them instructions that his disciples, and I think that we can follow. When we break it down, Jesus is telling us to be genuine friends. Note how he emphasizes just being peacemakers, to eat and drink and engage in fellowship. And the way I see it, it's for today, it's like having a barbecue with your neighbors or your coworkers or your family members. And also note that Jesus tells his disciples to focus on being friends with the same household, not to go door to door, but just be really specific. And I think that's true. We can only love so many people genuinely within our circle, and if we extend ourselves over too thin, over hundreds of friends, those relationships become superficial. So a couple hundred years after Christ, a Roman historian wrote about how Christians still shared the gospel during times when they were persecuted. And this is what they do. They would be exceedingly friendly and hospitable, and they would make specific and very intentional relationships with their coworkers or neighbors or family members, just a small group. And these Christians were definitely lambs being sent out to the wolves. And I think today we can somewhat relate with just social media, the toxic and hostile environment that we may experience, that we are lambs amongst wolves. But it's really important, again, to put ourselves out there. It's what Christ calls us to do. It's scary and it's vulnerable and definitely intimidating. But you know what? It's all part of loving people. It's part of the gospel. And it's part of giving them the opportunity to join the movement and, you know what, becoming one of those people holding palm branches and inviting Jesus in and waiting for him to come back and preparing the way. So I want you guys to think about that. It's a very powerful section, right? It has a lot of instructions on how we can share our faith and how we can tell people that, hey, we are Christ followers. This is who we are. So yeah, bless you guys. I love you. And also, next month we are starting up Eastside Men. At Eastside, and we're kicking it off with a really, really cool series. So for all the guys out there, Eastside Men starts March 17th, and it's going to be every Wednesday at 7:30 on Zoom. So check it out on our website, and yeah, enjoy this chapter, guys. I love you lots, and we'll see you soon.